We're going to look at other forms of selection. So we will look at the direct selection and then the path selection and what we can do with them. And if time permits, I will look at the gradient fill. That is how we can combine two or more colors in a gradient. So we are going to look at how we can select a specific part of the layer using a direct selection tool or the path selection tool, and how we can create we're going to use the pen tool and how we can create a different shape. Now you see that we have custom shapes that are built in. We have the rectangle, we have the ellipse, we have the triangle, we have the polygon, we have the line, and other custom shapes. But we can actually also create our own shape. Okay, for instance, we want to create a blob, like a blob, a circle which is disfigured. That usually, let me search for a blob for you to understand what I mean by a blob image. Now, a blob is simply kind of a circle image which is disfigured. So something like this. So something like this. Now, this is formed from a circle, okay, or an ellipse. So we're going to look now. You can see that we don't have this shape in Photoshop, but we can actually create our own. We can actually create our own, such as these things that we have here. These are all shapes that we can create on our own, and we can create them in Photoshop. So this is what I mean by a blob. So we are going to look at how we can disfigure other shapes to recreate different shapes which are not in Photoshop. So the first thing we are going to look at is we are going to look at how we can use the pen tool to create these shapes that we are talking about. Now, starting from the top, we have the pen tool, which is used to create path or arcs. Okay, so you can see that the pen tool can create connected lines or shapes using the dot. Using the dot. Okay, and we are going to look at how we can use the various types of the pen tool. Now, inside the pen tool, we also have a free-form pen tool. A free-form pen tool, which by way we use it to draw. So instead of becoming lines which are connected, this one is a free form that we use our hand whilst we are holding down the left key or the selection key to draw them. So this is the free form pen tool. We also have the curvature pen tool. The curvature pen tool, which is used to create curves. So you look at curvature here, we can put one here, and then if you want to create a curve, you can put one here, then they will be connected in curves. Now you can see that they have been created, a shape has been created out of them. And this is the use of the curvature pen tool. It is used to create curves from points. So we have one that we use, the pen that we use to create lines or a fixed figure shape, like connecting the dots through lines and lines. Then we also have the curvature, we also have the freeform. We also have add anchor point. Now you can see that whilst I was working on I was using the other tool. You see that I pick up a point and then the line will come so that they'll be connected. So these are the points that we're talking about, and these are the anchor points. So I hold some place and then I can drag them to create to minimize or to increase the shape. These are what we call the anchor point. Okay. These are what we call the anchor point. So we can actually use the add anchor point tool. Now you can see that you have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 anchor points. I can actually add another anchor point somewhere here, and it will allow me to move that place as well. I can add another here, which will allow me to move that point. You know, I cannot move on lines except that I add an anchor point on them. So I can use this point to create a dot or anchor point on the shape so that I'll be able to reshape them. That is what we call the anchor point. And then I can also delete anchor point. So when I select it, the shape that I want to delete, I'll just go there and click on it, and then it will be deleted. I'll click on it, it will be deleted, click on it, and then the anchor point will be deleted. Now you can see that all the anchor points are being deleted. So I want to delete all of them. Now we have just a few of them. We have about 2. Now we have just 2 here. Okay. And this is what the anchor point also does. Now, so we are going to concentrate more on the anchor point tool, the add anchor point tool, to disfigure some regular shapes like the ellipse. So I'm going to create an ellipse. So we're going to try our hands on creating a blob. So I'll create a circle. Okay, a circle like this. And you can see that the circle has 4 anchor points already. It has the left one, the top, the right, and then the down anchor point. So it already has 4 anchor points. Now I can add different anchor points in order for me to disfigure the shape. And that is where I will use the add anchor point tool. Okay, I can add an anchor point tool to where there are no anchor points. Now you see that it has been selected, and now I'll be able to move that place. I'll be able to move that place as well. So you see that now I have disfigured the ellipse to create a simple blob. So you see that this shape is not found in Photoshop, but we can actually create our own shapes by using the add anchor point tool. Okay. Now we can manipulate this tool. So this is the use of the add anchor point tool. As well, we can also use a rectangle. So here I have a rectangle where I can add, and then a rectangle also has the 4 anchor point tool. Okay, it has 1, 2, 3, 8 anchor points. You have the middle one, the top left, the top right, like this. So yeah, the rectangle has 8 anchor points. I can also add an anchor point separately for me to create another extension for the rectangle. So with this is the rectangle, I can also create different extensions or different shape out of the rectangle. Create a different shape out of the rectangle. So this is similar to an image we saw somewhere here. Something like that. So we can use the anchor point tool to recreate our own shapes inside of Photoshop. And the shapes, you see that some of the shapes are not in Photoshop. We can actually use our anchor point tool to add shapes to it. Hope you understand this.
Yes, please.
Hello.
Hello, sir.
Hello.
Hello, sir.
Hello.
Hello, sir.
Do you have any question in relation to this? Do you have any question for this? Hello. Hello.
Hello, sir.
Do you have any question in relation to this before we continue?
Oh, please, let's proceed, sir.
You said
Let's proceed, sir.
so. You see that these are um, irregular shapes that we created out of regular shapes. What if we want to create other different shapes like um, um, other shapes? So you see that you have, I think, trapezium or trapezoid or some shape that we create out of rectangle. That have slant edges. So with our rectangular shape available here, you can actually also create another form of rectangle out of this regular rectangle, and that is by using the direct selection tool. Okay, the direct selection tool, and we have the direct selection tool here. What we do is that we just select on the anchor point. So you see that we have 1, 2, 3, 4 anchor points here. So the only thing we need to do is to click on one of the anchor points. And when we click on the anchor point, we'll be able to extend the line. So we'll be able to extend like this. So it says that the operation will turn a live shape into regular path. You just click on yes, and then it will transform the shape. We can also select it, the other part, and then extend the other side like this. So you see that you have created another form of rectangle out of our regular rectangle, of which we'll be able to use for our design. Now, these designs are not built into Photoshop, so we can actually create and recreate these shapes by ourselves by using the direct path tool. So I can actually select the path I want to extend, and then I will use the tool to extend it to where I want it to be. So any place that I want to extend it to, I'll be able to do that. First, you must select it, you must click on it, and then second, you can extend the shape. So you can create any other shape out of all the shape that you have. Now, this is going to create a regular shape for you. But when you use the add anchor point, it's going to create an irregular shape or curves for you. So this is how we use the add anchor point and then the direct selection tool. So we have the path selection and then the direct selection. We use the direct selection to select on the anchor, and then we'll be able to move the anchor point to create or recreate a regular shape or different part out of a regular shape like this. So there are two ways we can do this. That is, you can select using the direct selection tool, using the direct selection tool, you see that it has been selected. That is, if you want to use the already existing anchor point, you can use the direct selection tool to select them. So you see that you have, but when we want to create another anchor point, so now you have 1, 2, 3, 4 anchor points, but we want to add another anchor point. That is when we select the anchor point tool and then add another point, so that we'll be able to adjust that area as well. I hope you understand the use of the anchor point and then the direct selection tool.
Yes, please.
Hello.
Yes, sir. I'm online.
So do you understand these tools?
Yes, please.
Okay. So another thing is that now when you have a background like this, you can as well add your own background. Now you see that they have a fixed colored background, that is a one color background like the white. You can actually add gradient background, and gradient simply means a mixture of two or more colors. Okay, a mixture of two or more colors. So we can actually add gradient to the background in order to create a blend of colors. Now to do that, Photoshop has a simple tool that is able to do that. And we also have the manipulative tool, which we can also go through, or the interactive way of doing it. So to do that, Photoshop has got um, a shape for it. That is the gradient tool. When we right click on the gradient tool, we also have the paint bucket, which we use to drop a color into our shape. But here we're going to concentrate on the gradient tool. Okay, now when we select the gradient tool, we'll be able to apply our gradient to anything that we have selected. So let's say we have selected this. This is not a regular. So let's select the background. So we have selected the background and we have selected the gradient tool. Now, when we go to the property bar, we can see that it is showing how the colors will appear here. Okay, it is showing the colors that will appear. That is the yellow, and then it blends to orange and then goes to red. So this is showing how when we drop the gradient, this is how it's going to appear. Now we also have options here. We have options here. This is what is currently selected. This is the blend. That is a linear blend. And then we also have a radial blend, or the radial gradient. We also have the anchor.
Angle gradient.
We also have the angle gradient, and then we have the reflected gradient, and then we have the diamond gradient. So this is what is currently selected, and we can see it displayed here. When we select the radial, this is also the color that's going to appear. Okay, this is the color that's going to appear. So when we select the radial, when we apply it, it will be in a circular form. When you select the angle, when we apply it, it's going to be like an angle form. When you select reflected, it will be a reflected form of gradient. So now let's apply the first one, that is the linear gradient, and see. So to do that, you see that our shape has turned into the gradient tool, that is a plus tool. This means that we have to start from a point where we want the gradient to start from. So if you want the gradient to start from the middle, we will point to the middle and then drag to where we want it to extend to. So now I will drag to the top, and when I leave it, my color will drop on it for me. So you see that it is showing how it is here. Now, if I wanted to move from the left to right, I will also do that. Drag from the left all the way to the right. And you see that you have yellow here, you have orange, and then you have red. So wherever I want it to start from, if I want it to start from the bottom here, I can also do that, and then it will do for me. If I want to start from any part that I want to start from, I can just do that. And you can see that my blend is now created for me. I can also choose a blend of colors when I drop down here. Now you see that this is how it's appearing, but I can also drop down and select from how it should appear. And that is before I draw it, I must select how I want it to appear. Should it appear this way, that way, this way, or anyhow I want it to appear? I can just select and then draw it over. You can see that it has happened. There are many gradient tools that we can add. We can add this and to be created for me. I can add different ones and then to also be created for me. There are so many
All right.
things that
So
are pre-built into Photoshop that you can
how
use.
about how about
Okay.
you, the designer, choosing your own gradient colors, your own color gradient?
And these are what are built into Photoshop. You can also create your own gradient. These ones are built into Photoshop, but you can actually create your own gradient as well.
And so, how do you build your own gradient?
I can't hear you.
How do you create your own gradient?
We have not gotten there yet.
Oh, all right. Okay.
So we are doing the basics,
The basic. Okay.
and we get to a point where we create our own collection of gradients, where we can add our own colors. So we have some collections here for you to use. Okay. And then let's select the radial version. When we move to the radial, when we apply the gradient on it, in the radial form, it's going to form a circular. So you see that it's kind of a circular color gradient. That is the radial. So you can see that the yellow is in the middle, then the orange and then the red are outlined. So this is what the radiant also does. You can also select the angle and then we can apply the angle on it. And this is how it also appears. You can select the reflection, then whichever way we draw it, it's also going to create a reflection for us. You can see that it has created a reflection of itself for us. And then finally, you have the diamond, which is going to create a diamond gradient for us. You can see how it is appearing. So this is how we add gradient to our background. Any question related to in relation to the tools we have used so far?
Okay. I still do not have any questions. The questions I have are not related to today's lesson. It's a general
Okay.
question. Somewhere along the line, if the opportunities allow, I will ask.
Okay, then we'll move on to creating our project for today. Okay, so we are going to create our project for today. That is, we are going to design a blob and then we'll put this man inside of it and then we'll create a gradient background for for the design. Then we will write. So we are going to combine different tools to do the design. So we are going to create a blob for this and then so for now let me turn the image off and then we are going to create a gradient background for it. So let's select our gradient. Let's choose our colors. Let me see any color that I want to. I'll select this color, make it gradient, select the background. Then I'll create my gradient. Okay, so since I've created my gradient, I'm going to create my blob. So I'll select my blob, my circle, then I'll create my blob inside of it. So I'm going to create my blob. So I'll select the direct selection tool, then I'll create my blob. You can create your own version, not necessarily the same thing here. Okay, so I have this simple blob available. Then I'm going to put my image inside of it. And you know how we put an image inside of a shape. So it will be on the image. Then I'll go to layer, create clipping mask path. Then it will fit into the shape. I will just extend it so that it covers the entire blob like this. And now my image is inside my blob, but I can create an outline for the blob. So I'll go to the ellipse. So I use the ellipse to create it. So I'll click on the ellipse and then I'll go to the properties section, go to stroke, and then I'll set my stroke color. Then I'll come and select the size of the stroke. Quite big. Yes, so I've selected my stroke. Now I have my blob created on a gradient background. Then I'll write something on it. I'll write his name on. These are all things that we have learned. So I'm trying to combine all of them together. So I have then I'll create. Change my color to white. So white is not going to show well. Black will do. So I can increase the size of my font, maybe 24. It's too big, 18 or 16. So this is a simple design I have done, combining all the things you have learned. That is creating a blob using the direct selection tool on an ellipse, creating a gradient background, then adding the text onto it, adding a text onto it, then changing text colors and sizes to make them look good.
Well, can I ask a question, please?
You said
Yeah, I said, can I ask a question, please?
hello.
Yeah, hello, sir. I said, can I ask a question, please?
Okay,
Yeah. Well, it's a general question. When working on a project,
I can't hear you.
I'm saying that
Mhm.
I have, I have some two questions to ask. The first one is when I'm working on a project that involves, that contains inscriptions like
Can you
Osage for Dr.
can you lift up your? I can't hear you.
You can't hear me.
Yes,
Can you can you not hear me
I
properly?
can hear you now.
Okay. So the question is when I'm working on a project
Mhm.
which contains inscriptions, example like Osage for Dr. Kwame Nkrumah. Now, after editing, when I try to move part of the text, then all the text moves along, all the text moves along. So how do I move text?
Move that's like moving
Like
one part of the.
yeah, yes, like moving Dr. Kwame Nkrumah away from Osagifo. Anytime I try to move one part, then almost all the text moves along. And
Now
I've been
this is the problem. I told you that Photoshop add everything that you create as a layer. So if you want to create separate layer for Sajefo, if you want to move Osajefo alone, and if you want to move Dr. Kwame Nkrumah alone, you need to create separate layers for them. So now you see that we have a layer for Osajefo here, and we have a layer for Dr. Kwame Nkrumah. So now if I select Dr. Kwame Nkrumah, I will move only Dr. Kwame Nkrumah. If I select Osajefo, I will only move Osajefo. But at a point where you write, you write all of them together like this. You write all of them together like this. They are being treated as a single layer. You cannot move only Dr. Kwame Nkrumah. All of them will move along because they are the same layer. So if you want to create layers, if you know that you are going to make changes for the various layers, then you should add them differently. Here, I can decide to remove doctor from this layer because I want to add special character to the doctor. So I have to create a different layer for the doctor like this. Now I've created a different layer for the doctor and I'll be able to add different. Are you listening?
yes, please, sir. I'm listening.
I'll be able to add different character to the doctor. So if you want to edit all of them separately, then you should create different layers for them.
Okay.
Else, if you write all of them together, you cannot move part of it. You will move all of them because all of them will be in the same layer and you will have to move all of them together. So for instance, I can do something like this, and this is a design. So if you also want to move, now I will only be able to move Kwame Nkrumah,
Move Kwame.
and I'll be able to move Doctor. I'll be able to move Osadifo because now they are all in different layers.
Okay. I see.
Do you understand?
Yes, please.
So if you write all of them together, if you write all of them together, you cannot move part of it. Else, all of them will have to move. So if you want to move them separately, then you should create a separate layer for them. So that is
All right.
that is that is the trick.
Okay. Thanks so much. Now, can I ask the second question, please?
Yeah.
Now, the second question is, um, when copying, when copying, is it a project or whatever? Yeah, what are the keys for copying?
Copying like what? Copying
Sometimes,
what?
yeah, if I want to copy, say, a shape,
Mm-hmm.
and then make, for example, if I want to duplicate
Mm-hmm.
a shape,
Mm-hmm.
I would have to copy and paste.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, but sometimes after you copy and paste, and then you wouldn't find the other this thing. And sometimes even if you want to do changes, if you want to add changes, or if you want to change the shape of the copied shape, you may end up selecting all the copied images or shapes. I don't
Okay.
know if you are getting, yeah.
Now the fact is, when you copy and paste a layer, the layer will be placed at the same place as you copied.
Okay.
So when I copy Dr. Kwame Nkrumah here, okay, when I copy Dr. Kwame Nkrumah here and paste it, I've pasted it. So you see that we have two things here. You have Dr. Kwame Nkrumah, you have Dr. Kwame Nkrumah here, and this is what has been pasted. But if you want to copy the text like this, you have to select it, okay, and then copy it, and then when you are done, you can paste it. But here too, you also have to select it now, because now it is selecting it as a text. So if you want to paste it, unless you also select where you want to paste it. Now you see that I have Dr. Kwame Nkrumah in the same text like this,
Yeah.
because I selected, or I copied the text. I had to select it, select all the things that are, excuse me. So if I want to copy this, I have to select all of them by doing double clicking, and then I'll go to copy. After that, I will have to also make sure that the thing where I want to place has been selected as well. So if I create a space and add paste here, it will be pasted in front of it where the cursor is. Now I will have it like this. But if I want to duplicate, there's a difference between duplicate and then copying, but they do almost the same thing. Here, it's a layer that I'm working with. So the only thing is I have to select the layer that I want to copy. Okay, here I won't be able to do the right click, because this time around it's a layer. This time around it's a layer. So here I can only do it here and not on the shape like this. If I do right click on this, this is what it's going to show to me. But I can come to the layer, and then I can duplicate the layer, because now it is being treated as what? A layer. So I can come to the layer, right click on it, and then click on duplicate layer. Once you enter this place, everything here is being treated as a layer and not just a text or image. It's being treated as a layer. So you must apply the layer rule. So if I want to copy the doctor, I must select it, right click on it, and then duplicate the layer. And then to tell me to give a name. What should it be named as? So you see that doctor copy. It's saying that a copy of the doctor. And if I click OK, it has been copied, but it has been placed on the same layer where I copied it, where I duplicated. So there are two doctors here.
Okay.
If I move one, you can see that there's another one under it.
All right.
So when you duplicate, it places the layer on its own. It does not place it elsewhere. You understand?
Yes, please.
So if I duplicate the Kwame Nkrumah like this, duplicate layer. Okay. So that you see that it is showing here Kwame Nkrumah copy and then Kwame Nkrumah. But here you cannot see it because now it has added to it, to the exact place that you copied it. So unless you move
Unless
it,
you move.
you won't see it. You have to now move the duplicated layer. Now you can see that it has been duplicated. So when you want to copy and paste, you have to select the layer and then duplicate rather, or you can just select here and then use the shortcut Control C. For that one, it will work when you are working here, but the right click and the duplicate will not work. But when you use the Control C, it will copy it. And for that one, when you paste, it will take you to somewhere else. Like this. Now I've copied Dr. Kwame Nkrumah. I use the shortcut Control C, and then it did for me. Another thing is we can select all of them together. So you see that we have Dr. Kwame Nkrumah copy here, we have Dr. Kwame Nkrumah copy here. But the problem with the copy and paste is that it does not change the name. So you see that you have Dr. Kwame Nkrumah copy, you have Dr. Kwame Nkrumah copy. But when you are duplicating, it will try to rename it so that they don't happen to have the same layer names.
So that the designer will be able to differentiate.
Yes. But when you do copy and paste, you have the same layer name and you wouldn't know which one you should select.
Okay. Thanks so much.
So that is the difference.
Okay. Thanks so
Okay.
much.
All right. So this is what we did today. We
And
used the
with with regard to this project, in the situation where I don't really get this particular picture, can I use any picture of Dr. Kwame
yeah,
Nkrumah?
yes,
All right. Okay.
yes.
And then the last project assignment you gave me,
Mm-hmm.
I copied. Um, I don't know um if you observed very carefully the image that I used for the design for the project.
Mm-hmm.
I couldn't get a copy as clear as what you used.
Yes, we have websites that provide authentic images, high pixel images, and we have a way of some of the images are for sale. Some of the high pixel images are for sale, but you have a ways of copying them, getting them freely. And when we reach a point, we are going to look at how we can get high pixel images for free. So
Okay.
you see that now you can even go to Pinterest. Pinterest images, most of them are for free.
Okay. Okay.
Most of them are for free, so you can get
Thanks so much.
image from Pinterest. But when you want to get images from um, Adobe stock, iStock, and then those you can go to, okay, you can also go to unsplash.com. They also have high
Where?
pixel image on Splash.
Slash slash. Okay.
Unsplash.com.
Splash.com. Okay.
They also have high pixel quality images.
Okay. Okay.
That you can download.
Okay. Thanks.
Okay, so let me create another project. What's that? and see that I have a quality image. So when you have a quality image, the subject selection becomes very smooth, and you get the outline very clearly. You get a detailed image very clearly. If you just get them from Google, you will not have the quality you're supposed to get. So
Okay.
go to the original website which has the image, and then you'll be able to get the official or the high pixel quality image that you can use in your projects. Oh, what is happening? Okay. So yeah, so it has been selected very clearly. Let me create my background. Yes. I can just move my image, paste it. I see that I have a detailed image. It's very, the quality is so marvelous. I can just, uh,
Yeah, repent. Kaya sa time mo binya berenang ka, neme bini pama meka. Ya itu semua punya
so you can look at your project and then work on it. Then for the next time that maybe tomorrow, then we look at the next thing that we ought to do.
All right, thank you, sir. So thanks so much for your time this evening and have a wonderful night.
All right.